They called it the Mobile Gun System. On paper, it was supposed to give US troops tank-level firepower on a fast, wheeled platform. In reality, it became one of the most controversial armored programs of the modern era. In the early 2000s, the United States Army faced a real problem. They needed heavy firepower that could deploy fast, something lighter than a tank, but far more lethal than a troop carrier, and they didn't have it, so they looked to Italy. They studied a machine already built for that mission, a wheeled tank destroyer designed for speed, firepower, and real combat. But when the moment came to adopt a proven design, America chose to build its own version instead. 2 decades later, that decision ended with retirement and cancellation. While in Italy, the original concept evolved into one of the most advanced wheeled fire support vehicles ever fielded. This is the story of the Centauro, and why copying the idea wasn't enough. For decades, military planners argued about one question: tracks or wheels? Tracked vehicles dominate rough terrain and carry heavy armor. Wheeled vehicles move faster, deploy farther, and cost less to operate. But mounting tank-level firepower on wheels has always been risky. Too heavy, and mobility disappears. Too light, and survivability collapses. Most attempts land in the middle, fast but fragile. Italy approached the problem differently. Instead of modifying an existing vehicle, they built a gun platform from the ground up. And that decision changed everything. To understand the Centauro, you have to understand Italy's geography. Mountain passes, coastal highways, urban density, limited space for heavy armored maneuver. Italy couldn't rely solely on heavy tanks to respond quickly across its territory. During the Cold War, planners feared rapid breakthroughs in the northeast or amphibious landings along the coast. They needed something that could move at highway speeds, deploy without transporters, hit hard enough to stop armored vehicles. Not a tank replacement, a fast response tank destroyer. The result was the B-1 Centauro. And most importantly, it was purpose-built for the role. Not a modified transport, not a compromise, a wheeled gun platform from day one. By the late 1990s, the United States Army faced a different challenge. Heavy Abrams tanks were powerful, but difficult to deploy quickly. Light vehicles lacked protection and firepower. General Eric Shinseki proposed a medium force concept, a formation that could deploy fast, but still hit hard. The US studied multiple solutions, including wheeled gun platforms already in service abroad. The conclusion was clear. The idea worked. A wheeled vehicle could carry heavy firepower if it was designed for it. But instead of adopting an existing design, the US chose to adapt a platform already in development, the Stryker. Originally built as an infantry carrier, now tasked with carrying a 105mm gun. The result? The M1128 Mobile Gun System. On paper, the concept made sense. A common chassis across multiple roles, logistical simplicity, shared maintenance and parts. But engineering reality intervened. The Stryker wasn't originally designed to absorb the recoil and structural stress of a large caliber cannon. To make it work, engineers added complex stabilization systems, automated loading mechanisms, structural reinforcements. Each addition increased weight and complexity. In operational environments, crews reported persistent mechanical challenges, high maintenance demands, and reliability concerns. At the same time, modern conflicts shifted toward improvised explosive devices, urban combat, asymmetric warfare. Protection upgrades added even more weight. Mobility decreased. Maintenance requirements increased. By the early 2000s, the Army decided to retire the mobile gun system and pursue different modernization paths. The real test of any armored vehicle isn't the proving ground, it's combat. And this is where the difference between concept and design becomes impossible to ignore. In Iraq and Afghanistan, the mobile gun system wasn't operating in ideal conditions. Urban streets, improvised explosive devices, extreme heat, long patrol cycles. These environments punished complexity. Every additional system meant another point of failure. Autoloaders, electronics, stabilization hardware, weight distribution compromises. Crews weren't just fighting the battlefield, they were fighting maintenance timelines. Armored vehicles live or die on reliability. If a vehicle needs constant repair, it becomes predictable. If it becomes predictable, it becomes vulnerable. Meanwhile, wheeled armored doctrine outside the US continued to evolve in a different direction. Vehicles weren't expected to be everything at once. They were specialized. Fast response, direct fire support, mobility first, protection balanced with mission profile. The Centauro fit into that doctrine naturally. It wasn't replacing tanks. It wasn't acting as infantry transport. It wasn't trying to be modular. It had one job: deliver heavy firepower quickly where tanks couldn't reach in time. And that clarity simplified everything. Maintenance cycles, crew training, logistics, deployment planning. The result wasn't perfection, but it was consistency. And in armored warfare, consistency wins campaigns more often than innovation alone. While the US was adapting under battlefield pressure, Italy was evolving through iteration. They didn't need to rethink the concept, they just needed to refine it. That difference, adaptation under pressure versus evolution from stability, is what separates reactive programs from enduring ones. While the US struggled to adapt a transport into a gun platform, Italy continued refining the Centauro. They didn't abandon the concept, they improved it. The next generation became the Centauro II. Everything was redesigned. Stronger chassis, improved protection, modern digital architecture, upgraded powertrain. Engine output increased dramatically. Mobility remained high, even with heavier armor. The Centauro II mounts a 120mm smoothbore cannon, comparable to modern main battle tanks. It integrates advanced targeting systems, optics, and networked battlefield capabilities. Automated loading assistance, manual backup capability, hunter-killer targeting. This wasn't just an upgrade, it was the full realization of the original concept. The difference between the two programs wasn't funding. It wasn't technology. It was philosophy. The Stryker MGS tried to transform an infantry carrier into a gun vehicle. The Centauro began as a gun vehicle from its first design sketch. One adapted a platform, the other built a platform around the mission. That difference shaped everything: weight distribution, recoil management, suspension strength, crew ergonomics, survivability, balance. Engineering decisions made at the beginning determined outcomes decades later. This story isn't just about two vehicles. It's about how modern armies approach design under pressure. Today's battlefields demand speed, survivability, and adaptability at the same time. Heavy armor alone isn't enough. Mobility alone isn't enough. Armies are trying to balance both, without breaking logistics or budgets. That's why wheeled fire support vehicles are becoming more important across NATO. They deploy faster than tanks. They travel farther without transporters, and they can reinforce weak points before heavy armor arrives. But the lesson from the Centauro and the Mobile Gun System still holds. If a vehicle is built for a clear mission from the start, it scales. If it's adapted into the role later, every compromise compounds over time. Modern procurement programs are starting to reflect that reality, not just in Europe, but in the United States as well. The story of the Centauro isn't about one vehicle beating another. It's about how military design works. You can't shortcut physics. You can't retrofit purpose into a machine built for something else. Italy built a wheeled tank destroyer because they needed one. The United States tried to integrate that capability into an existing system and discovered how difficult that really is. Today, the Centauro II stands as one of the most advanced wheeled fire support vehicles in service, not because it was perfect from the start, but because it was built for a clear mission and refined over time. Different approaches, different results, and a reminder that sometimes the biggest advantage isn't size or budget, it's starting with the right idea. What do you think? Was the US right to pursue a domestic solution? Or would adopting an existing design have been the smarter move? Let me know in the comments. And if you enjoy deep dives into military engineering and real-world design battles, subscribe. We've got more coming.